My head is feeling light, my lungs are tight, the tile floor is cold to the touch of the cheek, my tears are streaming from, my body is numb. Oh God, how did it come to this? I'm 16 years old and I'm woken up to hear the worst news of my life, and like the flip of a switch, my world goes black as I turn my back on what could have been. The future that was once so bright has lost its light, and now all I can see, all I can feel is the sickening darkness around me. I am 17 years old and I hate myself. I stand at 6'1", 125, and you can see every rib on this body that was once a temple, but now has become home to these crisscrossing lacerations covering my skin, inching closer and closer to my bones. I am 18 years old and I am an addict because all I want in life is to forget about this pain. Now I cannot remember anything at all. I want to fly high into that sky and watch as this boy who used to be slowly wither away. I am 19 years old, and the only sound I can hear is violent sobbing echoing off that tile floor. And then nothing. My name is Harbauer. I'm bipolar. I'm a suicide survivor. I've told you my story, but this presentation is not about me. It's to all those suffering in the dark, voiceless and afraid, to all the brave soldiers out there silently fighting a battle in a war others refuse to believe in. Many lose that war. I'm one of the lucky ones who have been given a second chance. And it's because of this second chance that I stand before you today, using my past to help those in need. I want people to know that they are not alone as I once believed I was. To those in pain, this part is for you. I want you to know it gets better. As hard as it seems, I want you to truly grasp hold of that idea. Do not be ashamed of your illness. Having a mental illness does not mean you are weak. It means you are strong. It means you are a fighter. Living in face of an overwhelming sense of despair means that you still have fire in your soul. Grasp hold of that burning will to live. Build a better future for yourself one step at a time. I know it is hard, but I know you can do it. My goal today is to give hope to those who have forgotten the meaning of the word. To do this, I have to tell a different type of story. A story that is bigger than you, me, or anyone. A story of a community in need. Mental illness is an issue that affects colleges all across the nation. It's a concern we should all share. To help that process, I'll paint a picture of what reality actually looks like. 1 in 4 Americans currently suffer from a mental illness. Next time you're in class, in the mall, movies, look around you. So many people are fighting this invisible battle all around you. But our college is a safe space, right? Wrong. Here are the facts. 80% of college students surveyed have reported as having felt overwhelmed by everything they had to face for the year. 45% have said they have felt hopeless at times. 40% said that they have felt an extreme amount of stress. 57% of women and 40% of men have said that they have felt a severe anxiety. 33% of women and 27% of men have said they have felt so depressed it made it hard for them to function. So what's the result of this? Over the past 50 years, suicide rates have skyrocketed by 200%. 6% of undergrad and 4% of grad students have seriously contemplated suicide. Among that population, 1 in 12 have made plans. 1.5 out of 100 have made actual attempts. Suicide is the second leading cause of death among college students. There are an annual 1,100 suicides on colleges per year. In general, 12 people aged 15 to 24 will die today, every 2 hours. If your life has not been impacted by mental illness, it will. Rock bottom is lying down in the back of a car on its way to the hospital. It's taking every breath, wondering if it will be your last, while repeatedly crying out the words, "I am sorry," but between every painful gasp of air until everything goes black. It's waking up in a strange room with no memory of how I got there and looking around trying to determine if I am even alive. So why are we allowing this to happen? Let me tell you why. We live in a society that is perpetuating the systematic damnation of those living with mental illnesses. We, as a culture, have created an environment which demonizes the concept of mental illness and forces those suffering into silence. People are so afraid of coming out as mentally ill. This is not an issue of embarrassment. This is not telling people you have a gross rash on your back. This is an issue of shame. This is people being so ashamed of who they are because it has been instilled into them that if you are mentally ill, there is something wrong with you as a person. That having to take medications means you are weak. That having emotions makes you unmanly or overly dramatic. It is sickening. A mental illness is a disease just like heart disease. However, when someone dies of a heart attack, we say it was a heart disease that killed them. When someone commits suicide, we call them weak, selfish, and dumb. This is indicative of our flawed approach to mental health. Rather than try to understand what drives individuals to such extremes, we simply cast them aside. We are currently living in a nation where the terms OCD and bipolar are thrown around as adjectives. We live in a nation where it is more acceptable to be a neo-Nazi than schizoaffective. We live in a nation that is systematically stigmatizing and targeting people with mental illnesses. We live in a nation that is killing kids. And until the stigma disappears, things will only get worse. So how does the stigma materialize? It's through a severe lack of effective resources needed to help to treat mentally ill. We all know college is an extremely stressful time. So you would expect there to be better preemptive actions made to make sure these problems do not escalate, but that is not the case, as universities all across the nation are failing at providing effective safety nets. A report done by the National Alliance on Mental Illness reported on prior or current students living with a mental health condition. The findings do not paint a good picture. A whopping 64% of those reported said they had to drop out of school because of their mental health concerns. Among that population, 45% said they did not receive proper accommodations, and 50% said they did not even reach out to any mental health services. The problem is twofold: a lack of effective resource allocation and a lack of education. I'm not here to blame disability resource centers. I know they are doing the best with what they have, but it's simply not enough. The other problem is a lack of education. Many students do not even know how to use a disability resource center. 32% of those surveyed said they did not even know they could have access to accommodations. At the most basic level, many students simply do not understand their illness and do not know how to go about getting help. Darkness is my home. Anguish cries disguised as demons' lies, always asking myself, why am I trapped in this well? I need someone to offer me their hand and to help me out of this personal hell. There are so many people in our community suffering in silence, but we can change that. I'll take this close to home. Boise State students are just as at risk as any other population. We have services in the form of the DRC and the CARE program, but we, as a student body, possess the power to create an environment that fosters openness. That's how we save lives. It's far from being an easy task. The road ahead of us will be difficult, but I know we can do it. The most essential action we must take is widespread education on the issue. We need to end the stigma. We need to be willing to have the uncomfortable conversations. Most importantly, we need to reach out to students and let them know that what they are going through is real and valid, and that help is out there. Fortunately, efforts are already being made right here on campus. I'm currently vice president of an on-campus, peer-run mental health support group called Tender Thoughts. We're a group of people who come together from all walks of life, all with our different problems, but share the similar goals, to help ourselves and each others. Meeting this group of people has radically changed my life. We simply get together and talk about our lives, and it's helped me more than words can ever describe. We're not a typical support group like you would find. We're peer-run, we're free and open, we don't have agendas. There's a problem though. We're small and nobody knows about us. I want to change that. I have a vision for this group, one in which students in need come to us for support, to receive the empathy and compassion they have been missing in their lives for too long. But I need a way to reach out to those students, and that's where you all come in. Tell your friends, family members, classmates, neighbors, tell anyone. Let them know we are here. We may be small now, but I know we can grow into something even more special. I am 20 years old, and soon I'll be celebrating my 2-year anniversary. I call myself a survivor, but that isn't true. Someone really did die that night. I am not that same person. Under the overpowering weight of despair, there was an explosion from which I was formed. I defy the laws of physics. Mine was a supernova that gave birth to a brighter star. It took the ultimate prize, but it gave rise to the person you see before you now. I do not really have a grasp on who I am or what I'm capable of, but I know 2 things. I am a fighter, and for the first time in a long time, I believe in a future. I believe in a future where people like me are not afraid to ask for help. I believe in a future where mental illnesses are treated as equally as a physical illness. I believe in a future where we as a community come together to help those in need, as it is our civic responsibility to do so. The future I believe in is bright. Getting there will not be easy. We have to break down barriers that have stood tall for years. I need your help. I cannot do this alone. I may have lived experience, but I cannot speak for everyone, and I certainly don't have the expertise to resolve this problem by myself. I don't have all the answers. I don't even know if I'm asking all the right questions. I need your help. After all, I'm just a kid who still believes in that 4-letter word, H-O-P-E.